Hey, society, happy freaking Monday. Day one of our 4-day digital lock-in is finally here. Let me make sure I can see the chat. There we go. Listen, it is officially day one of our 4-day lock-in. Before we get started, I do have a couple of things. Hey sis. Yeah, my sis know I like to chat real cute and active. Let's go ahead and get it started. Before I kick it off, for one, I don't know if y'all can see me or not, but if y'all don't, I got on my pink, you know the vibes. I will have a couple of housekeeping things that I want to go over really quick. Since this is day one of the lock-in, um, I want to make sure. Oh, y'all can't see me. Let me. Thanks for letting me know, sis. I wanted to make sure that you guys do know that every single day at the exact same time, we are having a new class today through Thursday. So tomorrow we'll have Amani come in and teach us some bomb graphic design. Wednesday, we're coming back with video editing. And then on Thursday, Ashlyn is coming in to teach influencer marketing. So I hope y'all are super excited about that. I have a ton of gems. We're breaking this content strategy down from scratch tonight. Also, I wanted to let you guys know, and I'm looking at my notes. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that there is a new course in the classroom. It'll be at the very bottom. For some reason, don't let me move the new ones to the top. But it's called Social Media from Scratch, and it includes the hook information that you guys were asking for on our last call. So I know that we talked about hooks. I know we did the hook challenge. I included hooks into a brand new course again called Social Media from Scratch. And I'm still working on adding in some of the hooks, but I'm breaking them down by industry. I can't remember who recommended that or asked for that during our call, but you will see that course in the classroom. And then for my creator girlies, I also added in new influencer resources. So breaking down brand contracts, you will now see, as well as affiliate programs, you will now see in the classroom under influencer resources. So make sure y'all go check those out. The next thing on my list, I'm dropping my pen already, Lord. The next thing on my list is the Chat GPT prompts. I do have a couple of them that I want to give y'all during this call, but I know that was something else that y'all asked for during the our first monthly call. So that's coming next. And again, make sure you have the events for the rest of the week on the calendar, because I won't be able to send out notifications like I did today. So make sure you have them. I need everybody to use their big girl pants and make sure that you are able to get in the room for those classes. Let me make sure real quick. I always have to do a little Instagram check because it's always going to be a DM like, hey, sis, can't find it at the last minute. So let me make sure. Okay, perfect. Let's get into this webinar. If you're excited, drop some fire in the chat. This will be recorded. It is recorded live. So the replay will be in the classroom as well. If you are excited, let me see it and let's get straight into the gems. For anybody who is new to the social society, to the agency, to me in general, I like to do a real quick introduction, just enough, but not too much. Because nobody's here to learn about me. Y'all here to learn about the content, right? So, really quick, I am Ebony Thomas, the founder of Ebony K Agency and also the Social Society, which is, as you know, our online content community. I've been a social media strategist for over 3 years now. I have 2 business degrees, a master's in business administration, MBA, and a bachelor's from 2 HBCU. Shout out to my HBCU girls, period. And then I also do have corporate experience in marketing and customer experience. So customer experience, what that means is how can we create a strategy to make our customers come back to us over and over again? And I do have experience in doing both for one of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in the world, household name, so big that I don't even want to say it. But I do have that experience as well. So let's get into the gym, starting off with what is a content strategy? Why are we even here? Why are we talking about this? What about this is even important? Like, what are we doing today? A content strategy is basically literally what it sounds like, a strategy for how you're going to create content and how you're going to post content on social media. What it does is it helps you figure out how to build your brand awareness. It helps you make sure all of your content is relevant for your audience. You start to foster that engagement because you know exactly who it is you're talking to and what you need to be talking to them about. And it helps you drive conversions, aka make the money. right? Posting online is cute, but raise your hand if you posting online for free. That's your goal. You don't want to make no money online. And if I see a hand up in the chat, I don't know what I'm gonna say to y'all today. But the content strategy is essential for business growth. And when I say business, I also mean my creator girls as well. Because as you get into this creator space, you are the business, you are the brand that you are building. So it's essential to know how you go to market, right? Go to market is a corporate term as far as how you present yourself to your audience and to your customers. How do you want to go? What is your strategy? What is your go to market strategy, right? We need to know what content strategy is before we can even get to why it's important. 3 reasons you need to make sure you have your content strategy on point. For one, your brand visibility. You need to be able to consistently create high quality content in order to be visible. You need to create content that's relevant to your audience and what it is they are going through for your brand to be visible. I could post all day long, but if I'm not touching on pain points for my audience, if I'm not touching on what they're struggling with for my audience, if I'm not touching on their goals, I'm just posting. I'm just posting the posts, right? Again, I'm just posting the post. If you once you have your content strategy, it helps your brand visibility because you're creating content that is relevant to your audience. It also helps with your engagement because again, you're touching on what it is your audience directly needs and what directly affects them. And then your conversions because you align it with what your customers, how your customers make decisions. So in a couple slides, we're going to talk about audience personas, and that's going to tell you how your customers make decisions, what it is your customers need from you or your audience needs from you in order to drive those conversions and increase that engagement. And I got some engagement building strategies at the end for the girls as well. So all in all, you need to have your content strategy to increase your visibility, aka get in front of more people, get more engagement, and ultimately sell, whether you're selling a product, whether you're selling a service, whether you're selling something through an affiliate link, whatever it is, you need to be able to convert your audience. Now let's get into creating the strategy because that's the why. And the why is cute, but if you hear, I'm assuming you know why you need a content strategy. Let's get into how to actually create the strategy. First step, understanding your audience. 3 very easy steps to understanding your audience: audience research, audience personas, and audience segmentation. Right. So all of us have heard you need to know your target audience. You need to know your target audience. And the number one question I get is, how do I know? How do I know who my target audience is? How do I know who I'm talking to? How do I know who I'm creating content for? So instead of me telling you guys you need to know your target audience, I figured I would break it down in a different format, a more corporate style format, because I think for a lot of people it'll make it click. It'll make it connect. It'll make it make sense once we break it down in these 3 steps to understanding your audience personas is what we're ultimately trying to get to. Who is your audience? So the first step is audience research. A couple of ways you can research. This is for people who have already started to build an audience. Now you want to know what to do with them, right? You want to figure out who it is that your brand is for, right? You are helping your potential customers understand their behaviors, pain points, preferences. How can you attract and speak to those people? So the first way to do it is through surveys and questionnaires. So surveys are a way to get direct feedback by asking your audience exactly what it is they need. Now, it's not going to be as easy as here's a quick survey, please fill it out, because we know everybody's not going to fill it out. You have to make it fun. You have to make it relatable for your audience. You have to make it make sense, right? So instead of saying, hey, I have this survey, I would love for you to figure it out, what you can do is create a series of questions on your story, right? Or a series of polls on your story. For example, your first slide, and I hope y'all take notes, because this real Google Forms and Survey Monkeys, that's cute. I know I put it on there, but everybody's not going to fill that out. But what people will do is vote on your Instagram story, right? So let's say if you wanted to really question and survey your audience, let's say you made a series of stories. Your first slide says something along the lines of, let's play a game. If you make it to the end, I'll send you blank freebie. Quick and easy. I'm making this up on the spot, y'all. By the way, let's play a game. If you make it to the end, you get this. Throughout the stories, and don't make it 65 slides. Don't make it 65 slides. Make it maybe 4. 4 or 5. She said, I'm still in this idea. I can't wait to see it, my girl. Make it 4 or 5 slides. Every slide is a different question. Some of them are polls, some of them are questions, right? But polls will typically get the most engagement. People are quicker to vote on a poll than they are to answer a question in your story. So make sure you keep that in mind, especially for my newer accounts, right? The first question says, oh, okay, I got to use an industry as an example. I'm going to use myself as an example. Let's say I put on my story, let's play a game. The first question is, what's the most important part of a content strategy? I'll have 4 different questions on there. The first one will say, what time you post. The second one will say the quality of your content. The third one will say what you're talking about. So like topics, right? Pain points, all that things, right? And I'll get people to vote. What's the most important part of a content strategy? Whatever they vote, whatever the highest vote, that's telling me that's what my audience perceives as the highest value, right? I, as the expert in my industry, know that all 3 are equally as important. All 3 are important. Well, the topic might be a little bit more important. Let me not go too far. But I know that all of these are necessary. All of these are needed in my industry. But I want to see what my audience perceives as valuable. Because if my audience tells me that they perceive what time to post as the most important part of your content strategy, I now know that when I create my content in my content strategy, my own content strategy, I need to touch on different times to post and how I can help them understand different times to post, right? So when we talk about getting direct feedback and surveys, that's what I mean. It's not always, hey, fill out this quick survey, fill out this quick questionnaire. Sometimes it is, let's play this quick game on our story, right? Again, 3 slides. For my girl Takia, I saw her say, I'm flipping this idea. What's your dream destination? The first one say Jamaica, the second one say London, the third one say Dubai, the fourth one say Turks, right? Let's say most of your audience votes Turks and Caicos. Now my next post will be how to travel to Turks on a budget, because we know Turks is a bag, okay? How to travel to Turks and Caicos on a budget, and you're giving value and you're speaking to your individual skill set as far as how you can help them book the trip and how they need you to book it, not how they can go book it themselves, right? If you need help, I have access to these resources, right? This is how I can help you. That's how we get direct feedback. Another way to do it is to offer incentives. So again, just like I talked about in the story questionnaire, or I'm sorry, the story game, at the end, it's like, if you answer all these polls, if you answer every single question, if you follow every single slide, I'll send you this freebie. Now people are incentivized. They're more likely to participate, that you've made it fun. You've kind of made it a game. You're welcome, sis. You've made it a game at this point, right? I will say with the direct feedback, I know that I formatted it as a game, a couple of slides, you get through it. You could do this once a week. One thing you'll periodically see me post on my story is, what do you need help with? Or what are you struggling with? And I don't know if y'all noticed, I'm sure I did. I don't know if y'all noticed, sometimes I post questions, I never post the responses, because this is not an engagement question. This is a feedback question. This is so when people in my audience say, I need help with video editing or I need help with content strategy, right? I know that in my 4-day lock-in, hello, make it make sense. In my 4-day lock-in, I need to talk about content strategy, because when I posted that question, a lot of people were asking about the strategy piece of it. So I know I'm now serving my audience and giving them what they're asking me for. See how I did that? Okay. The second piece of audience research is your analytics. So if you guys have a website, I know they have it for Shopify. I'm sure they have it for Wix and most other websites. I don't know how it works with Stan. You know, I have a Stan store. I've never looked into it, but you can use Google Analytics and it will give you information about how many people are visiting your site, including where they live, what they're doing on there, how many times, which pages they going to, which pages they clicking off, where are they leaving, are they adding stuff to cart and then not checking out. You can get insights on all of that, because that again helps you understand what it is your audience is doing when it comes to your brand and your business, right? If you know that everybody's going to your, let's see, if you know that everybody's going to your homepage, but nobody's going to your sales page, maybe it's something on your homepage that you now need to go and make sure that people know how to navigate. Make sure your website is loading on time, or I'm sorry, loading fast, maybe is the term. And make sure that people know how to get to where they need to get to. Because if people are stopping on your homepage, that's a problem. But again, you need these analytics and you need to understand your audience to really get to the root of the problem. But that's sales strategy. We're not talking sales strategies now. And then of course our social media analytics, so our likes, how many people are commenting, how many people are saving and sharing. And then the next way, and y'all slow me down if I'm talking too fast. Y'all know I get excited and I get to zooming through information. And of course, y'all know I will be taking questions as well. The next way is social listening. So this is just a fancy word for keeping your ear to the street. This is just a corporate term for keeping your ear to the streets. What is trending in your industry? What are people talking about? So said I'm writing 100 miles per hour. I'm screaming. What are people talking about in your industry? What are people talking about when it comes to aligning industries? What are people talking about when it comes to your competitors? Right? I'll give you a perfect example of social listening. I have I wouldn't even say a competitor, but we work in similar industries, right? In a coaching style space. She just coaches on a different topic. It's not social media. And I specifically remember when she ran a sale and she said, you have to buy it by this time or the price. Let me add my sis. You have to buy it by this time or the price is going to go up. And then when that time came, she extended it. The next day, she extended the sale for 24 more hours. And then a couple of days later, she extended the sale for 24 hours. And I saw somebody in the comments say, what is the purpose of me trying to beat the sale if you're just going to extend it? That told me, again, social listening, keeping my ear to the streets. If I say a deadline is this time, that's the deadline. Because what that did is now people were in her comments, and this was a little while ago. Now people were in her comments talking about, yeah, I saw that too. And now they're piling on, and now they no longer trust her word. Right? This is social listening. This is how we research our audience needs and wants and pain points. Right? I see people always talking about how they did a webinar. They went to a webinar, they went to a class, and the only thing people talked about was themselves and what they've accomplished and gave some motivation. They didn't feel like they got value. Y'all know after that, I keep my about me slide short and simple. This is not about me. Let's get to the value, right? Because again, I didn't have to go through that issue because I keep my ear to the streets and I understand what it is my audience is saying, not necessarily to me, but to other people as well. And then also engaging in communities. Don't sleep on Facebook groups. I'm in so many marketing, social media, Facebook groups just so I can see the questions that's coming through. Just so I can see the comments. Again, keeping my ear to the streets, understanding what's going on. Maybe somebody else will catch something before me. Or maybe there's a huge amount of people who have this same question. And when I say Facebook groups, not a Facebook group of people who I would consider my peers, right? Also get in Facebook groups for people who want help, people who are asking questions, people who are looking for resources, right? Get in some of these groups, engage in some of these communities. I won't say, I'm constantly looking for new ones to join. Facts. I wouldn't even say get in there and every time somebody comes and say, oh, I can help you, I can help you, I can help you, because they might kick you out. I'm not gonna lie, they might kick you out. But you need to be in there with your ear to the street. So again, you know which value to provide for your audience. Is this helpful? Is this good information or no? That's the first step. So said great info. Okay. That's the first step. Our first step is audience research. Sis said, I have a question. When I post my next group trip, I want to create a deadline to create a sense of urgency. Great idea. But if I don't meet my goal, is it okay to extend without people losing trust? Set your deadline based on the goal. So deadlines, sometimes they're time sensitive, sometimes they're goal specific. I'll give you a perfect example. When I did dang, what have I done with a time sensitive deadline? I'll make up an example, right? Let's say I'm doing this class and I say you have to buy it by 5 p.m. on this date. After that, the price is going up. Literally. Well, that's the example I'm about to give you. Stick with me, sis. You have to buy it by this date or the price is going up. If they don't buy it by this date, the deadline has passed. And to your point, maybe I didn't hit my goal. And now I don't want to lose. I don't. So I say I was hurrying to pay. Now I don't want to lose that audience. Whereas for the society, just like my sis said, I don't know if y'all noticed, my deadlines are based on my goal. I have a member count in mind where I want the society to be. I know in December how many people I want in the society, how many people I need to get in there, and what industries I need them to be in, right? Because in January, I want my business owners and my influencers to be able to collaborate with each other. Right. So I know how to market to both of these people. So for me, my time sensitive offer is when we hit 50 members, the price is going up. When we hit 20 members, the price is going up. When we hit however many, the price is going up, right? Because to my sister's point, she was hurrying up to pay because when we hit this 50, we had 41 now, we got 9 more spots. When we hit this 50, the price will be going up. It will be going up again. Sis said, so maybe say only 20 rooms available instead of deadline to book is September 30th. Yes, exactly. And then once you count it down, you can say, like, for example, y'all will see me post this week on the 9 spots available to join the society for $15 before the price goes up for good. That's how you increase that urgency and get people in the room. For you specifically, Dr. Kia, because it's travel, I know travel does have to be booked by a certain date. So I would also keep, well, I know you know to keep that in mind. It's your industry and I'm in your business, right? But I will also keep that in mind as well. That was a good question, though. Okay. The next thing is creating personas. Now we know what our people want from us. Now we know what they're struggling with. We got our ear to the streets. We know exactly what it is we're talking about. Now we need to figure out who are we specifically looking to target, right? And this is where that creating your target audience comes in place. A huge misconception, and I say it all the time, a huge misconception is that you create your target audience. You don't have to wait. You don't wait to see who comes to you, right? Because if you wait to see who comes to you, you're not targeting anybody in your content. You need to already know who it is you want to work with. Who are your products for? And even though your products can be used by everybody, you don't have to target everybody. I work with women. I get men all the time, like, sis. Well, they do call me sis, actually. Actually, they do. Sis, I need some help. I'm like, cool, because the social media strategies I teach are for everybody, but my marketing is for my women. Exactly. Hey, Nadia, girl, she said we should have at least 3 personas. Exactly. So a couple of things you need to know about these people, right? I put name on here because I'm about to break it down in a very corporate manner again, so it can click. I'll tell you exactly how they do it in the corporate world in these big Fortune 500 companies where they get into never mind. I was gonna say some ghetto. It's not the time, not the time. Okay. The first thing they do is they're going to give it a name. We're going to create a persona right now, actually. We're going to create a persona right now, actually. And we're going to create one for Takia because I see my girl active in the chat. So we're about to create one. Exactly. So we're about to create one right now. Let's say we're going to name our ideal customer Budget Betty. That's real cute. Budget Betty, that's her name. Budget Betty probably makes about 30 to, well, I won't say 30. Well, I say 30 to $60,000 a year, right? Let's go demographics. Maybe in her, let's go a little young. Let's say we are targeting somebody who is maybe 21 to 24, right? They're 21 to 24. Demographics includes your age, your location, education, all these different things, right? Let's say they're 21 to 24 and their goal is to take trips. They want to travel without spending too much money, right? They want to travel. They want to get the most bang for their buck. They want something nice, but they're not afraid to go on the lower end. They don't need 5-star, right? They're always on social media. That's their content preferences. And their challenge is understanding how to travel for their income level, how to find cheaper flights, right? Some of their challenges is maybe finding time to travel would be a challenge for Buddy, what I call her? Budget Betty, right? Maybe one of her challenges would be figuring out when is the best or most affordable time to travel, right? I say all this to say the way I broke this down, this is how they're describing people in these settings and in these environments. You're creating your audience, right? So for me, my idea customer, and I don't always have to give it a name because that's the least of my worries, is the name, right? But I know my idea customer makes during hurricane season is the cheapest. Oh, good enough. My idea audience works a 9 to 5. Let's get into demographics, right? Education, challenges, goals. My ideal customer works a 9 to 5, right? They're in their 20, they're probably somewhere between 25 and 34, which is a big gap depending on the content, right? They location isn't relevant for my industry because I teach online. However, I do create content or I do create events in Houston, or I will be creating events in Houston. So I always pay special attention to my people in Houston, right? Their goals are to monetize social media. Their goals are to create content that can help them achieve all these different things, right? Their challenges is understanding the algorithm, knowing when to post, knowing how to post, making time to create the content, all these different things. And their content purposes, again, for all of us, is probably going to be social media, right? For some people, it turns into they're on Facebook more, or they are at local events, depending on your industry. But for the good bulk of us in here, it will be social media. This is how we're creating our persona. We're understanding how who it is we want to work with, right? Income comes into play because you can't be charging $65 for you can't be charging $65 for this cup if your target audience is college students. College students don't have no money, right? So when we're creating our persona, and when we talk about goals, I'll tell you why this all comes into play. When we're creating our persona, we know exactly who it is we work for. So say I create my personas based on my IG analytics. That's a good strategy. However, I will also again be mindful to make sure you working with the people you want to work with as well. But that is a really good strategy. Okay. So again, when we're creating our goals, this comes into play because, for example, when I launched this in-person event that I'm working on for 2025, I know the price point. So I know the income level that matches that price point. And I know they'll be in Houston. I know what their goals are. Their goals will be to work with brands as a creator, right? Their challenges would be to getting attached to brands. Maybe I'm giving away too much about the event, but their challenge would be to be finding brand contacts, right? Their content preferences, they're always on social media because they're creators and influencers, right? But because I know how this price point, how this event is going to be priced, I know what this certain audience will have to be able to afford, if that makes sense, which is how income comes into play and demographics comes into place, and their goals and their challenges comes into play. Because the way you market to a college student or the way you market to one income level is going to be completely different from how you market to how Chanel will market, for example, because their income level is a little higher. So that's the second step, creating your personas, understanding who it is in your target audience, who exactly it is you are looking to target. And then again, why does all this matter? Like I said, you need to know how to tailor your content to the specific needs. If you know your target audience is college students, how can you target stuff with exactly? Sis said because you need to know how much money you want to make. How can you target your content to that specific audience, right? And then it also helps with content mapping. So content mapping is when you align your content with the different parts of the buyer's journey. Now, because this isn't a sales webinar, I won't get too much into the sales journey. But again, that's your awareness, your consideration, your decisions, how people are moving through your sales process, your sales funnels. I don't know if there's a sales funnel in the classroom, but maybe that's something I should add in there because I know I have that somewhere in an old ebook. But again, to say this is good stuff, I'm glad. Again, people have to know, you have to know how to align this content with the different stages of the sales journey. And then finally, the last step is your audience segmentation. Audience segmentation is, again, breaking down to Nadia's earlier point, you need to have multiple personas. Now you're breaking these people down into very smaller or specific groups. And there's a couple of ways you can break it down. There's 5 ways. Oh, that's T, since I had to do this and change my ticket prices, literally. There's 5 ways you can segment your audience. You don't have to hit all 5 for every single audience. But again, that's demographics, age, income, education, behavioral is, have they bought before? Are they already engaging in your content? Are they new to your account, right? You should be segmenting the people who are new and don't know you. And you should also have a way to speak to the people who are your OGs, the people who are loyal in your community. This is also a really good way to segment your email list, by the way. And then psychographics. So again, what are their interests? What is their lifestyle? There's a different I laugh because I thought about Fashion Nova. The way Fashion Nova targets directly attracts the interests and lifestyles of their ideal audience. And again, their content is not for everybody, and the way they speak is not for everybody. They don't care because they know their audience. Their audience persona is already created. Anybody else who shops, they shop, but they know exactly who they're talking to, right? So what are their interests and attitudes and lifestyles? The other 2 ways are geographic again, by location, and then lifestyle is where they are in their customer journey. Again, are they new? Do they know you? Are they repeat customers? Did they just find your account? What is it that, where are they in your journey? Excuse me. So that's the 3 steps to audience. Before we get into setting clear goals, real quick, let me know if y'all have any questions about audience in the chat. Let me know if y'all have any question about, I made the chat too big, baby. Let me know if y'all have any questions about audience segmentation, setting your audience personas, what you need to be doing, what you don't need to be doing. Let me know if y'all have any questions. And if not, we'll move on. Let's see what my sis said. Yes, ma'am, my girl. Y'all can come off mute if y'all need to ask your questions. I think I set it up to where you guys can come off mute. That was my goal, but if not, you can type it in the chat.
Okay. So as a makeup artist, most of my clients are like 30 and up, typically 45 to 50, and they do not like being on camera. So I would try to like target the younger audience for not client purposes, but for content purposes, even though I know they ain't gonna want to pay as much. So what do I do in a sense in that kind of situation where I love my paying clients, but they don't really like creating content with me? But the cheaper ones, they are all for content.
Yeah. The first thing I would say is you may have to look into getting models who fit into your target audience. That way they know what they're coming for. When I say getting models, this may have to be outside of your true clients, right? Get some people, even if it's like a auntie or something. I know that sounds crazy, but get some people who are in your ideal audience and already started with the content. Maybe you have to do a free look for the content, right? And you kind of make that trade-off, kind of barter the services. I would also say if you have to work with some of these younger clients, create the content in the looks that attracts the older clients. So maybe the clients aren't the same age, but it's the same kind of look that your 30, 40 clients would be. So maybe it's not the big cut crease and the big, I don't even think people still wear 25 millimeter lashes. I think that's very old and outdated. But it's the style content again that people are used to you seeing, that your clients are used to getting from you, and the kind of content that they like, or I'm sorry, the kind of looks that they like. You're just using a younger face for it. Is the other thing I would suggest.
Okay, I do use models actually weekly for content purposes, but I think I will I think I will incorporate the age part in that as well, just to see how that goes. Thank you.
You are so welcome, my girl. My girl said, how do you stay organized with creating content? Do you have an online calendar or planner? Okay. I'm thinking about it because I do a couple things. I'll let me see which part of my strategy will actually be helpful. I'll tell you what I do, and then I'll tell you what I recommend. When I'm creating content, we'll talk about it in this section, creating clear goals. I set monthly and quarterly goals. And again, we're about to touch on that, so I won't get too deep into it. But based on my goals, I map out the kind of content I want to create and make it make sense. And then I take it to a content calendar. But I'm not one to put it, I don't use a true content calendar. I actually use like a to-do list style format. So I use either monday.com, or I just started using Microsoft To Do, and you can create tasks in both and set a date to it. So I'll create, for example, this is what I want to say in the content. And this is a good part. This is a good tip for when you're batching. See, I'm a to-do list girl. I can't do the calendars. This is a good strategy for when you're batching your content. This is what I want the content to say. I want it to go up on this day. Is it a reel? Is it if I thought I did have stuff that I can't share yet in there, I would show y'all my monday.com. But is it a reel? Is it a feed post, or is it carousel? Right? Or is it a story? And I literally make it on a list. The thing I like about Microsoft To Do, which is a computer app that I just started using maybe like 3 weeks ago. So I'm still new to it. But for one, you can clear as day see it checked off. You can add in different notes. And you can set it by the day. So literally I could create something, put it on my to-do list for 3 weeks ago. So when I get on that day, I say, oh yeah, I wanted to post this on my story this day. Right. So again, while I recommend using a calendar, I also know that using a content calendar is not the most beneficial for everybody because it's not beneficial for me. The only reason I recommend using it is because you can physically like see the layout. And that's the part I be missing sometimes. I need to see how it's gonna come together. Um, and my girls, I had the same issue. My clients never send pictures from vacation. You're gonna have to give them an incentive to send. You're gonna have to give them a reason to want to send. Because it sounds like they're not gonna send it out the kindness of their heart. So you're gonna have to give them you're welcome, sis. You're gonna have to give them an incentive. If you send it, I will give you, oh, I was gonna say money back, something like that. You know how they do money back guarantees, but it depends on, I don't know how that work in travel, but you'll have to give them an incentive to do it. Okay, let's get into setting clear goals. Is it a webinar if we don't, is it a class if we don't talk about SMART goals? You need to be setting SMART goals in your business, in your brand, in your life, honestly, right? Your goals need to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And we'll get into what these mean on the next slide. But basically the overall message here is make your goals make sense, right? Make your goals make sense for where you are today. I want to make $1 million. That's a goal. It's not a SMART goal. A goal without an action plan is literally just a wish. Oh, I like that. I should put that on a post. A goal without an action plan is literally just a wish. We need to be setting SMART goals to get to where it is we want to go. So SMART goals, again, specific. What is it exactly you want to do? What do you want to achieve? I want to grow my followers. It's not enough. I want to hit 50K. That's a specific goal, right? You quantify it. It's measurable. How can you measure to make sure that you can hit the goal, right? Again, I want to grow my followers. Cool. I want to grow my followers by 50K. Now I know what number I'm chasing, right? It's realistic. If you're already at 30, 45K, you can that's a realistic goal for you, right? If you're at 1,000 followers, you say, I want to be at 3,000 followers by we're in August, by October 1st. I want to gain 2,000 followers by October 1st, right? You very specific about what it is you want to do. You've measured it. It's realistic for where you are. It aligns with your goals. The R is for relevant. Is it relevant to your goals? I want to grow followers and you don't know why you want them. Doesn't make sense, friend. That doesn't make sense, friend, right? But if you want to grow followers because you want to be a part of a certain affiliate program, right? Or if you want to grow followers because you want to increase your community or you want to increase your brand reach, now is relevant to your overall goal. And then a deadline. October 1st is the deadline. So a really good, again, SMART goal, specific, measurable, it has some numbers behind it, realistic for where you are. Oh, achievable. I'm like, what the A mean? Because realistic are achievable. Realistic for where you are. It aligns with your overall goals and you have a timeline on it. So again, I want to grow my Instagram account by 2,000 followers by October 1st. Why is it relevant? Right? Because I want to build my community. How is it achievable? Because I'm already this close, right? We have to be setting SMART goals. We have to make it make sense for our audience and what it is we're trying to offer. And again, this is what I was just talking about with my sis. So again, when it comes to your content strategy, you need to be setting monthly or quarterly goals. I'm personally a fan of both. So for me, I set quarterly goals for my brand and monthly goals for my content. Does that make sense? I set quarterly goals for my business and monthly goals for my content. My quarterly goal is to get the Social Society to a certain amount of members. My monthly goal this month was to push the digital lock-in. My monthly goal next month is to push the live series, right? And then when we talk about making it a SMART goal, making it make sense, and if we really want to get into the details, right, the live series is very intentional because my quarterly goal, again, is to get the Social Society to a certain amount of members. My monthly goal next month is a live series because when I go live for all these different people, I now have access to their audience to also promote the Social Society, which attributes to my quarterly goal, right? So that's how we make it a SMART goal. You also need to match your content to your business goals. You know your business goals. What kind of content do you need to be creating to align with your business goals? What kind of bartering or networking do you need to be doing on social media to align with your business goals? And then monitor. Of course, you always have to monitor the performance of your content. You also always have to be checking your analytics. You also need to know what kind of content your audience responds to, right? This is how we make it make sense, right? We know our goals. Now we figure out how to bring our content into these goals. And then content creation and planning. We're about to break down the content creating step by step, from ideation to distribution. Literally, I think that might be the exact words on the slide, actually. But how do you actually create the content? A lot of people say, I don't know how to create content. I'm like, friend, yes, you do. Because you recorded that selfie video on your story and I saw it, right? Everything is content. But if you want to sit down and really talk about your content strategy, if we recap, we now know who we're talking to and we now know what our goal is. So I know exactly who my audience is and I know what my goals is for my business. How do I put that into a strategy and actually get the content into the world? The first step is ideation. So this is your brainstorming session, right? This is where you're sitting down and saying, what is it that I want to create content around? What is it that I want to talk about? What is it that I want to push this month? When we're talking about our monthly goals, what is it that I want to focus on this month? And I didn't say it, but the reason I said monthly goals is because you need to commit to pushing a product over time. It's hard to grow and get sales if you're always promoting everything, right? People will find the rest of the stuff on your website, but what is the one thing that you're actively pushing in order to give your audience time to adjust and attract to that product, right? This is where our brainstorming sessions come in. So let's say you're promoting this pink cup, right? What do I need to talk about with this cup? I can sit down and brainstorm all the reasons people should buy it. Exactly. All the reasons people should buy it. I can sit up and talk about all the benefits, all the features, all the ways I can make it relatable, all the ways I can make it entertaining to my audience, right? When I know I put on here content idea generators. For this, you can use like a chat GPT to create some content ideas. So I'm gonna give y'all a prompt. Make sure you got your pen and paper. I'm gonna give y'all a chat GPT prompt to use. I'm gonna give y'all a couple actually. So again, we're selling this cup. This is not a Stanley, but let's pretend it is. Let's pretend it is. A chat GPT prompt, and you will plug and play it for your exact product or service or what you're offering. I will type in the chat GPT. I am promoting a pink stamp, either promoting or selling. I am promoting a pink Stanley cup to my audience that is full of your target audience, right? So for me, I'm promoting a pink Stanley cup to my audience who is full of business owners and creators. Now you get some content ideas for that, right? If you want to take it a step further, this cup is making it hard for my example. But if you want to take it a step further, I'm promoting a pink Stanley cup for my audience who is full of business owners and creators who are on the go and need this cup, and may need this cup in their daily life. What are some reasons they wouldn't buy this cup, right? That's one question. What are some ways I can convince them to buy this cup, right? What are some things that they need to know about the cup, right? Or if we take it a step further, let's say you have an idea. Let's say we leave the cup alone. Let's say you are promoting an ebook. Because I know some of my girls are digital girlies. Let's say you're promoting an ebook. You're promoting an ebook about how to what's a good ebook topic? Let me see who in my chat. Let's say my sister's creating an ebook, how to perfect your base routine for your makeup, right? Now, again, you're saying, I want to create an ebook about how to promote my base routine. This is for throw events. I like that. How to perfect my base routine. This is for people who are new to makeup and want to perfect this strategy. You give them your entire idea, basically. You give them your entire idea, and then you put that entire idea, after you did your brainstorming session, put that entire idea in Chat GPT and say, how can I improve this? How can I improve this? Real world example, I put into Chat GPT, I want to put, to say where you look at it. Perfect example, I put in Chat GPT, I want to create a way to give weekly content ideas to my audience that is full of business owners and creators inside an online community. How can I perfect this? I was just doing content ideas every week. ChatGPT told me to add the classes. ChatGPT told me to gamify it so you can reach different levels based on your engagement, right? ChatGPT took my entire example or my entire idea and transformed it into this overall concept, right? Put your idea in ChatGPT and let them perfect it. Ask them everything. I think we think ChatGPT has to be, I'm doing this, I need to do. I ask ChatGPT everything like it's my homegirl. I'm doing a webinar tonight. How can I close out the webinar in a way that's engaging for my audience? How can I make my webinar, how can I make my class engaging to where I know that they're focused? You take questions in the middle, you don't wait to the end, right? You give motivation at the end after they got the idea, so now they have the mindset to go and execute, right? Put all of this into ChatGPT. And then we already talked about content planning and organizing them. Sis said, ChatGPT, pretend you are a content creator coach who's creating a digital ebook. Exactly. How can I perfect this? Yes. And then you can go to what are ways I can market this, right? What are pain points for this audience? So you said for how to grow Instagram engagement, you can even put in ChatGPT who would benefit most from this information. They're gonna probably tell you digital ebook on how to grow Instagram. They're gonna probably tell you creators, they're gonna probably tell you digital business owners, right? How can I attract this audience? What are things that this audience struggles with? All this can go into ChatGPT. And I'm not going to say that information is gold, but it gives you a framework and it helps your mind start to working. And I'm also going to say they keep that information. So be very crystal clear about what you put in there. Because when I say they keep that information, I asked them something today and they referenced something I said last week. I said, well, hold on, I'm not even talking about that. And how do you remember that? So that's not, I don't like that. ChatGPT, to me, the best way to use it is like your AI assistant. So said, I asked ChatGPT last week to create a content strat calendar for the month of September as a makeup artist and love the results. I love that. What are some ways I can market this? Who would benefit the most from this information? Yes. What are some ways to attract this audience? Yes, that's my girl. Okay, sorry. I get excited. And okay, so now we have our ideas. How are we creating the content, right? Again, I talked about it a little bit already, but you're figuring out who you're talking to. Now we've put our prompts now we're putting our prompts into ChatGPT. Now we need to figure out what it is we want to say, how we can put it in our brand voice. Because ChatGPT gonna give you the corporate answer, right? But now you add your human touch and your human connection to it. Right now you're writing out again. This is scripting, by the way. Yes, and shout out Google Gemini. I'm talking about ChatGPT. I be on Google Gemini because Google Gemini is Google's version of ChatGPT, but it gives you a more humanized tone. So if you missed the first call, I talked about that as an alternative to ChatGPT that I really like. And apparently, according to my sis, I was right. Okay, now you're scripting out your content. This is exactly what I want to say in my content. Again, for my girlies who may have a touch of ADHD like I do, right? Or you may struggle with memorization or scripting. Maybe you don't have to script word for word exactly what it is you need to say. Maybe you don't write down in your content creation while you're planning and getting ready to create the content. Maybe you don't write down exactly what it is you want to say. Maybe you just write the subject. Right. So for me, I can't write out a script. But what I can do is say, I want to talk about brainstorming sessions, right? And these are the 3 points I want to hit on. And I can speak freely. That helps me keep it very authentic, very transparent, very relatable instead of me trying to read a script. So that's something else to keep in mind. And I added a couple of resources. Again, Grammarly helps with writing, Canva for designing, of course, and then CapCut for editing. But this is where you're actually creating your content. You turn it on your camera. Once you get your content created, one thing I would highly, highly, highly suggest everybody do is do not create content same day. It reduces error. So for what I mean by that is if I wake up on a Tuesday and create a piece of content, I won't post it till Wednesday because when I post it to Wednesday, I need to read it back with a fresh mind, right? And that's where this quality assurance comes in. That's my personal review process. I need to read it back with fresh eyes because it made sense when I said it on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, I said that had nothing to do with what was the message, right? And then also encourage feedback from your audience. So one thing I did recently, and this is feedback, and this is also a fun way to do a call to action. One thing I did recently was I gave some value, and at the end of the post, and it was the post about I believe it was social media tips, if you guys want to go back and look at it. I gave some value, and at the end of the post, I said something along the lines of, now here's the new rule. If this is good information, drop some fire in the chat or drop some fire in the comments so I can know that these are helpful, right? That gave me feedback. Now I know that my audience likes that kind of content, and I'm not posting it just for fun. I know that this is something my audience likes from me. And then there's also a call to action. Now I'm encouraging engagement and comments in the comment section. Okay, and then finally publication, and this is just posting it on your social media platforms, on your websites, through your emails list, at a time that makes sense for your audience. I will also, as always, encourage people to not sleep on early morning posts when people are just rolling out of bed and scrolling before they get ready for work. And I will also not sleep on those late at night during the marketing hours, when people are again in their bed scrolling on Instagram. Telemarketing hours, sorry, is the term. I would not sleep on those as well. And also be very mindful of who your audience is and where they are during the day. My audience is at work during the day. There's nothing for us to talk about at 10 a.m. when they just getting their day started. Now, 11 a.m. when they on lunch break, I might have something to say, right? But at 9 a.m. when they just opening their emails and getting logged into work, they saying they highs at the coffee machine. There's nothing for me to say to them because I don't have their attention. So keep that in mind. And then again, some scheduling tools. Hootsuite is a really good scheduler. Buffer is a really good scheduler. HubSpot, I've never personally used. I'll give that disclaimer, but I've heard good things about it. So take that one with a grain of salt. I'm not gonna put my name on HubSpot. But I do really like Hootsuite. I also like Planoly. I also like Later. And as of this new algorithm update, for some reason, when I schedule my posts in the Instagram app, they don't go anywhere. So just a heads up on that, because that was not the case maybe this time last month. That wasn't, Notability is also a good one. Oh, and Plannable. Oh, I've never heard of Plannable. I would be mindful of that. For some reason, scheduling through the Instagram app is killing my distribution. Just a heads up. Okay, and then promotion. Again, we talked about cross promotion, I think, on our first call, but this is how to get your content across different platforms. Cross promoting and repurposing content really kind of go hand in hand. The only difference is repurposing content can be across the same platform. Cross promotion is across different platforms. So for example, for my personal brand, if I post something on Instagram, I also post it on TikTok and YouTube Shorts if it's a video, right? That's me cross promoting. I'm putting it across different platforms to maximize the reach. Repurposing content is what I did yesterday. I took a post that I posted in 2022 because I do my research. It performed well in 2022. And I reposted it yesterday, or maybe the day before. I reposted it online and it did well again because I knew it performed in 2022. And the people I had in 2022 and the people I have today are completely different people, right? But that's repurposing your content. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm using what already works. And then, of course, monitor your performance, your likes, your views, what people are saying in your comments. Are people saying, love this post? Are people saying more of these? Are people dropping fire? Are people DMing you after you post this, right? Are you getting a lot of shares, right? Use your analytics to really refine your strategy. It'll tell you exactly what works and what doesn't work. And again, I feel like I've said this in the society, but just in case I haven't, your performance is not always your like. Sometimes, or I'm sorry, your commonality in your performance is not always your pain point. So every time I talk about social media, I always have to give an example so I can know it's connecting, right? Every time I talk about social media updates, I know it performs well. Every time I talk about content ideas, I know it performs well, right? That is one way to refine my strategy. I know that those are two topics that always perform well on my account. I also know that regardless of what I say, if I put it in a Twitter post format, it's going to perform well, right? So where my pain point is different, my formatting is another way that I'm able to track how my content is performing. I know that that specific format works well for me. So don't just pay attention to your pain points, but also how you're formatting your content. What time you're posting, pay attention to how things are performing at different times. Pay attention to what people are, again, engaging with and asking you questions about, and use all of that to fuel your content strategy. All that comes from your analytics. And then we're going to wrap up with engagement and community building. Let me know y'all still with me in the chat. Is this good information, or am I now just running my mouth? I need a little reassurance, friend. Is this good information, or am I now just running my mouth? Before we get into engagement and community building strategies, let me know. Okay, I see some fire coming. I see some fire. I see some fire. I see some fire. I see some fire. So said great information. Okay. I'm just making sure. Let's get into this engagement and community building. Not to say, girl, you know you open. I be having to make sure, friend. I have to make sure that I'm giving the girls the information. Let's get into engagement and community building. So a couple of ways to drive engagement varies. I say very simple, but we know engagement is always up and down, right? But this is the easiest way I could simplify it. Clear call to actions. Again, serving the event in 2025. Oh, I'm seeing that. I'm make sure you have, I'm still planning it out now. I'm in the early developments, but I got you. Clear call to actions. Call to actions is not always comment on this post. Comment society on this post and I'll send the link. That's a call to action, yes. Is it one of my best? I don't think so personally, but it's based on my goal. It's based on my specific goal. I'll tell you that. I can say that for free. But a call to action could also be share this with a friend. Actually, you know what the call to action was on that post that I talked about earlier? It was, before you send this to your content friends, drop some fire so I know this is good information, right? Because I know you're going to share it, because the post always get a lot of shares. But before you share, I need you to do this first, right? It encourages people to take action. Call to actions are literally how you tell your audience exactly what it is you want them to do. That could be drop this comment. That could be comment if, but Takia, comment if this is your dream destination, or comment if you would travel here, or comment if this is on your vacation list is a good one. Comment fire if this is on your vacation list, right? For Stephanie, comment, yours will be very similar. Comment fire if this is good information. Comment fire if you learned something, right? Comment, it don't always have to be comment, by the way, but that's just the example, right? It could also be share this with somebody who needed to know this, right? Send this to your friend who always supports you is a good one. Let's say you're doing some shareable content. Send this to a friend who always supports you. A good time to do it. I know we're far from International Women's Day, but I'm gonna use that as an example. International Women's Day, I always create a piece of shareable content. My goal is not to sell, it's strictly to increase my brand awareness. And I say, shout out to the women who support you with dang, what's the word for when people are doing things out of their own benefit? Shout out to the people who support you through anything, for example, right? And in the comment or in the caption, I would say either tag your go-to accountability partner, tag your bestie who you know wants to see you win, or send this to whoever, right? This is your call to action. You're literally telling people exactly what it is you want them to do. And that's shouldn't always be a sales call to action. It's not always going to be comment this word to buy this product. It should be comment this if this is good information. Or, excuse me, or it can also be, what do you think? When I post my social media updates, one thing I used to always put in my captions is, which one are you excited about? That's my call to action. I'm inviting them to engage with me and to interact with me and to create that conversation. So now we can build that connection, because we know connection brings conversions. Okay. The next is interactive content. So we talked about polls and quizzes on your stories, surveys on your stories. You can also do contests and giveaways. I wouldn't do them frequently, maybe quarterly at most, for giveaways specifically. Well, honestly, for both, but that's your prerogative. I take that piece of advice with a grain of salt. I just wouldn't run them consistently, but it's a way to get your audience to interact. And then of course, live Q&A sessions. But again, if you are going live, be prepared to talk to yourself in case the questions don't come, because that's always a possibility on live. Oh, it's a possibility on live. Okay, and then finally, storytelling. This is how you create an emotional connection with your audience. Again, I just said connection drives conversions, right? Connection, people buy people before they buy products. People are more likely to spend their money with people they actually like, people they can relate to, people who they think are real and transparent with them, right? This is where your storytelling comes in. You can share your personal success stories, you can share some behind the scenes, you can share some wins, you can share some losses, however that looks, right? So for example, I've created two posts in the past that are a really good example of storytelling. One post was trending at the time, and it was a reel, of course, and it said, I am 20, I was 27 at the time. So this is, well, I just turned 28, Lord. Anyway, beside the point. It said I'm 27 at 26. Did I count down or up? Okay, this is the concept because I can't remember the exact post. I'm 27 at 22. I was depressed working a job I hated at 23. Actually, I'm lying. This was in years. So it'll say, for example, this is 2021. In 2021, I was depressed working a job I hated. In 2022, I was doing XYZ. In 2023, I was able to overcome this. In 2024, I've now been able to teach this many women, help them do this. These are the results. These are success, right? That's me sharing my experience, my story, breaking it down in a better way than what I explained it. For sure, I promise. And I would tell you to go look, but it's a little far down in my reels. But I'm breaking down that storytelling, right? That's the first way I did it. The second way I did it was when you went from this to this. So for example, I also created a reel that said when you secured a brand deal for X amount of money, and I was listing out wins. And in the reel, I was like dancing. This is me sharing my success for my audience. One thing that I don't want you guys to sleep on when it comes to your content strategy is that you need to present your content in a way that's desirable to your audience, right? So for me, the dang, this is not a sales webinar. I'm gonna give y'all this little piece of advice though. So the way people are buying online is different now. It's not enough to say this is the result. I can sit right here at this computer and say I helped multiple women hit six figures through social media. That's cool. But if you see me saying the exact same thing and I'm getting out of my car, for example, if we're doing lifestyle content, or if I'm standing outside of a building, or you see me walking into an event that I was already going to, that has nothing to do with me, right? But I'm walking to an event, it's that perceived value and that perceived success that sells these days on social media. And again, it's not always lifestyle content. I don't want y'all to think that I'm saying you need to show your house and your car and what it is, but what it, and all those different things. But what it is you need to be in a position that is desirable to your audience. So if you are in front of your computer, I don't even want to say in front of your computer. If you are walking into an event, you have somebody recording you walking to an event. They don't know whether you're going to a conference or whether you're going to brunch with your homegirls. All they see is that you're walking into this event and you're giving this value, and you have to visualize the success, make the success visible, make the results visible. And don't be talking about results you ain't got for real. I wouldn't even say that because I just assumed that y'all wouldn't do that. But I see that sometimes on social media, and I'm gonna leave it alone. Sis said fake it till you make it. See, that's not what I said. See, that's not what I said. I said perceived value. Okay, let's move on. Okay, and building community. I think we at the end. Okay, so how do we build community? We talked about engagement. Engagement is cute, but community again drives conversions. Just like connection, community drives conversions. So one way to do it is create spaces, right? Offer exclusive content for people who are subscribed. You know, Instagram does that exclusive content thing, right? Or for people who are on your email list, offer exclusive content, offer early access, create spaces for people to feel valued and invested in your brand, right? Create opportunity for people you can create a Facebook group, right? Create opportunities for people to feel like they're more than just a customer. And honestly, you should feel like that too. That's not even a marketing strategy. That's just being, to me, a good business owner, right? You should feel, people should feel like they're a part of your brand because people should be a part of your brand, right? My brand is not about me. And I know this is relevant. I mean, it depends on like the industry, right? So this may not look the same for Takia, or it may not look the same for a makeup artist, but make sure your customers at minimum feel valued, however that looks for your industry. Again, offer them exclusive content. I saw a thing on TikTok that I thought was super cute where this lady, one of her return customers came in after she finished her hair or finished her makeup, whatever her service was. She did the service for free as a thank you for being a return customer. Right? That's how you make people feel valued and build that community. It doesn't always have to be free stuff. Maybe it's exclusive content. Maybe it is exclusive lives. You know, you could set exclusive lives on Instagram, but you do need to create space to actually connect to build a community. Because I feel like community right now is becoming a buzzword when it truly is community. It's not a marketing strategy. It's actually building community. And I don't want social media to let us forget that part. Again, another thing is a sense of belonging. So again, your audience should feel like they are aligned with your brand's mission. What do you have in common with them? How can you relate to them? What have you overcome or gone through? How are you and your community alike, right? And if you're not alike, how does your passion help fuel your community? Give them a sense of belonging into your audience and then facilitate connection. So again, encourage your community to talk to each other, not just with the brand, right? This could be in the comment sections. This could be in whichever spaces you're creating. This could be on your live sessions, right? My favorite thing is when I go live and I see people talking to each other. I'm like, well, y'all don't even care about me. Facilitate connections. This is what community is all about. It's not community if everybody here just wants to talk to me and doesn't want to talk to each other, right? That's not community. That's, I don't know what that's called. When you start, should this space be free or paid? Honestly, there's no right answer to that. Because it truly depends on your goals. If you are trying to, I'm not against free communities. I'll say that. I'm a really big fan of free communities because it gives you one place where all of your audience can go in and connect, right? However, on the other hand, people value what they pay for. So it really depends, it truly does depend on what your goal is. Is your goal to, I'm thinking.
Or I should say, like, if you started off free, is there any way to then do a paid membership on the back end? If you
Yeah,
started off free in the beginning, or if you started off free, that's just what you have to rock with. I mean,
no, no,
maybe it
no.
started off free in the beginning because you just starting to build community, but like
Mhm.
once your name is out there and stuff and you feel like I should be getting paid for what I'm doing, do you go to another platform and then build one where it's a paid entry? And are you putting like way different stuff in there than you are in your free community? Or is that why you shouldn't do a free community? Because now you got to do
Okay.
twice the work on content.
Okay, so I will say this, you can start off free and transition to a paid community. And a lot of people do that. What it is when you transition to the paid community, you need a higher perceived value. So for example, if in my free community, I'm going I'm going live every month, for example. In my free community, I'm going live every month and I'm dropping different articles and different resources and things. In my paid community, they'll have closer access to me. So not only am I going live, but I'm also, instead of going live, I'm offering one-on-one coaching where I can help them with their specific goals, right? The value is a little bit higher. So you still have that free community where you can, again, start to cultivate those connections and build that community, but you also have a paid community where they get more value. My girl said, I have a free community. I have a free Facebook community with up to 8,000 members, but they have to pay online for the online boot camps and seminars. Perfect example, right? You still have the free community, but they have a higher perceived value if they want to go to that next level. Ashlyn, who is coming on Thursday to talk about influencer marketing. She's also the co-founder of a Women in Marketing Facebook group that has like 90,000 members in it, right? It's a free community because I'm in it. I know it's free because I'm in it, right? But again, they're cultivating that community and that connections, and people are in there. We talk about facilitating connections. People are in there talking to each other. So they had. I don't know if they upgraded that one to a paid community or not, but again, there's nothing wrong with a free community, especially if you're just getting started. And if you have the perceived value, people will pay to upgrade for sure. That was a good question. Okay. Last slide. Now we talk about how to measure success. I won't go into this into detail unless there's something on here that anybody has questions about. But these are our basic bare, I say basic, most important metrics. They're most important, but they're also most known, right? So you need to, of course, be measuring your likes, comments, shares, and saves to see what your audience is responding to. You also need to be measuring your reach and your impressions to see who your content is getting in front of and what they're doing when it gets there. Your conversions is how many people are actually buying once they see content. That's one of the most important to track for businesses. What is your conversion rate? If people are just liking and not converting, then we taking up space on Beyonce Internet. Follower growth, of course, and then bounce rate. People don't talk about it as much, but I added it because it's content strategy specific, but it's also business specific. So this is how many people leave your website after only visiting one page, right? And I talked about that a little bit earlier. How many people are going to your website? So now it's a warm lead, you know they're interested, but they're leaving right after. That's a very important one to track. And again, it's not necessarily related to content, but I wanted to put it on y'all radar because I don't hear people talk about it a lot. So let's break it down. An hour and 18 minutes later, let's wrap this thing on up. Really quickly, as a recap, these are your action steps to creating your content strategy. You need to understand your audience. You need to make sure you set clear goals. You need to plan and create your content. Distribute it evenly through as many platforms as you are managing. And I'm not saying be on every platform, that because it's a hassle. As somebody who owns a lot, it's a hassle. But what I am saying is make sure the content is distributed evenly across the platforms that you are managing. Make sure you're focusing on not just engagement, but also community building. You really want to be that person for your audience, and make sure you're tracking your engagement to measure success. And surprise, I've given the girls homework this week. Welcome to the social society where we do the work, okay? The homework for today is to set SMART goals for September. Set your SMART goals for September. And I only know that you are doing it if you drop them on the main feed. Let me see what's to say. Follow something. Oh, I like that. It's a giveaway. Hold on. Follow us on Instagram. Make one comment and like a post. Share. Oh, I'm sorry. Screenshot both and share the screenshot to what chance to. I like this. My only the only thing I will say is to increase your reach, instead of them sending the screenshot to the email. Oh, well, I get why you're doing that, because it'd be easy to manage it. I was gonna say, instead of them sending the screenshot to you, they could post it on their story, and that unintentionally tells their audience as well about the giveaway in case the people in their community are interested. But I see how it will be easier to track who actually participated through the email. But keep both in mind, because I do like the idea of, again, using it as not just a giveaway, because this is a the way it's formatted now is an engagement giveaway. But if you want to also use it to increase your reach, that's when the story comes in place. But I do like that though. One comment and one like, very simple. They don't have no excuses. So I like that. I'm excited to see it. You're welcome, sis. Listen, homework. SMART goals. I need to see them for September on the main feed. Y'all really disappointed me with that challenge this month. I'm not gonna talk about it. I said, are the girls working or are they just in here? But I need to see the September SMART goals. And the reason I say drop them on the main feed is because at the end of the month, I will be going to check and follow up to see if these goals have been hit. Where we talk about time sensitive, these need to be for September. Don't give me no goal you got for the end of December. For transparency, I'm gonna forget by December. But at the end of September, I do want to be able to go down the feed and see if your SMART goal was hit. And if it wasn't, what resources we need to do. Since we here, what resources we need to provide, or what support we need to provide inside the community to make sure you hit that goal. Okay? That's the end. Listen, real cute. Let's wrap it up. Screenshot and share while we get into, I do want to get into some last minute questions. But I always like to do these quotes at the end of my webinars. And I've done it before, and I feel like it's so fun to do because we've given the information, right? We've given the value, we've answered questions all throughout Now it's about the execution, right? So a very quick affirmation for you to share and post on your story and do whatever it is you want to do with it. Or if you just want to keep it in mind, well, share it on your story, friend. I was gonna say you don't have to, but I think you should. And tag me. Call to action. But my goals are about to become my reality, right? We're in this class because we have very specific goals that we want to accomplish. We're in a social society because we already have made the investment to hit these goals, to do what it takes to get these goals accomplished. I need everybody in here to know that what you're working on is not out of reach. What you're working on is not unreachable. It's not unattainable. It's already aligned for you, which is why you are putting yourself in position to receive it. Your goals are about to come your reality. All you have to do is do the work to get there. Okay. All you need to do is commit to doing the work long term. I talked about that on Motivation Monday today. I brought Motivation Monday back, by the way. So that was the first day. Nadia, please. I brought Motivation Monday back today. Today was the first day. I talked about that this morning. A lot of us are committed to the goal, but we're not committed to the work. A lot of us are committed to the goal. We know where we want to be in 5 years, but we're not mentally prepared to do 5 years worth of work to get there. Right? My goals are about to come my reality. If you are ready to put in the work it takes. So said Motivation Monday was good. If you are ready to put in the work it takes to get there, right? So again, screenshot it, post it on your story, set it as your phone home screen for all our cat friends. But I need everybody to be mentally prepared to do the work. We have 3 more days of this lock in. Tomorrow we are with Amani. She's gonna be breaking down how to create fire graphics in Canva, because I already know how my girl is coming. Amani Unleashed on Instagram, if you're not familiar with her. That starts tomorrow. Again, at the same time, make sure you do not miss it. Make sure you show up on time and give my girl some respect. And if you have a friend that you feel like needs to be in this lock-in this week, make sure you invite them. They do need to be in the society to get access to the links. But make sure you invite them so they don't miss out on day 2. Day 3, we're doing video editing, and day 4, we're doing influencer marketing. I hope this was helpful. I'm gonna leave the chat open for a few more minutes in case some questions come through, but I really hope this was helpful to my girls. Again, we worried about the goal, we need to be worried about the work. We're worried about the goal, we need to be worried about the work. We need to be mentally prepared to do the work it takes to get to where we want to be. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Are you willing to work 4 or 5 years to get it done? Are you willing to work? Are you willing to work for 5 years if you don't see the results until year 3? Are you willing to mentally do 3 years worth of work to see the results that you want in year 5? Because for some of us, it won't happen in year 1. It won't happen in year 2. Are you committed to the work though? Or are you committed to the goal? I'm gonna throw my hands up. I'm gonna let y'all have it. Listen, happy Monday. I'm so excited this was helpful. Drop your SMART goals. You don't have to do it today. I'm gonna give you some time to think about it and contemplate. But I want them SMART goals on the main feed by, actually I changed my mind, before class tomorrow. Because we committed to the work. Okay, that's a good question. Takia said, how many goals? I only want to see one, your main goal. I only want to see your main goal on the main feed. Drop it in the social society. I will be checking before class tomorrow. Love my girls down. Let me know how class was tonight, whether you drop it on the main feed, whether you send me a DM, whether you post it on your story, whatever you want to do. But I do want to make sure this was helpful information. I will see y'all tomorrow. Love y'all down. Bye, friend.